Hey all, and welcome back to Fuzzy Ducksy Gaming and a new video on the channel. Going through my first day's progress in Endless Delve. It's not an event I was 100% sure I was going to do, but I was at a loose end, so I thought I might as well log in and give it a go. So I thought I'd try a skill I've never played before and an ascendancy I've not touched in a very long time. And I've gone for Shatter Juggernaut. There's a few reasons for it, which we'll go through first off. Like I said, it's not a skill I've played before, and it's a skill that I've seen a lot of people play more in a hardcore setting, and it looked quite fun, tanky. Looked like it do enough damage to get down to a half decent depth, so I can get the character maybe to level 90. It's a physical build. Fizz weapons are really easy to craft, especially in Delve, where they're going to be able to farm loads and loads of fossils without restriction. And as I said, it's a skill I've looked at for a while now, but it's not really something that fit in with my sort of trade league style of play. So as I said, I haven't played the skill before, so I really needed to get some understanding about how the skill works and who's done builds before that I can look at to see and try and tailor it to my needs, really. So Goratha got one to 100 in the Mayhem event, so I had a look at his videos, watched a couple of his streams to get an idea of kind of where he pathed at the beginning, when you switch to Bone Shatter and stuff like that. I have made some changes because in an event where you're mapping and you've got crafting benches and stuff, you've got much easier ability to kind of get spell suppression capped and stuff like that. So I've obviously tweaked the tree for Delve because I've never really got a chance getting spell suppress capped unless I really grind hard for gear. And then even if I do, it's going to be really down to RNG as to whether we get it or not. So there's a level in POE in the description, which is really just going through how I leveled. It was super, super smooth. I used Shattering Steel, Splitting Steel, whatever the level 1 skill is, until 12. Then I took Helix on, and then once I hit my third lab at level 68, and I had +1 strike, I had some endurance charges, and then I had some fortification, I've then switched to Bone Shatter. And the switch was really, really smooth. I was a bit worried because I'd never played the skill before that I would just switch and then kill myself, but it went absolutely fine. I was really happy with it. Now the gear I've got is really, really bad, but in Endless Delve, unless you're lucky and you get a lot of essences, you're basically going to be left with some Chaos Orbs, Alchemy Orbs, and whatever you find on the ground. And then obviously some Resonators and Fossils. But at the moment, I haven't really started farming Fossils because I'm still trying to get a little bit deeper and trying to get a few more levels on the character. It is a character, however, that easily leveled up to 80 and I'm still going. So if you haven't started the event yet and you want something that's smooth, I'd recommend it. Obviously, there's builds that other people are playing that are super smooth as well. Poisonous Concoction I did as an occultist last league just to get up to 50 or whatever you got the rewards package at. And that was really smooth. There's a lot of people doing cold dot builds. There's some really, really decent starter weapons where you can actually get some half decent cast on crit or attack builds going. There's loads of fun stuff you could do. So I'd only recommend doing it if you like the look of the skill and you want to give it a go. And that's the main reason I did it, is it is a build I'm thinking of trying out and possibly even starting next league. And rather than spend 6 or 7 hours going through the campaign, mapping, things like that, it takes a couple of hours probably to level up to 60-ish in Endless Delve. You don't have to do any of the labs. It's just really, really quick, easy way to level and test out characters. So that's what I've done. And it's been really smooth. I've died twice, which was all after level 75. I died once where I just got overwhelmed and I know I was. If it was like a hardcore thing, I would have logged out. And then the second death was after I'd already cleared the node. I didn't realize there was a couple of monsters hiding in the darkness, and they were horrible arch nemesis monsters, and they basically ganged up on me and killed me. But again, I could have just exited, gone to character select, carried on. I was greedy, wanted to get the loot. I died. I don't really care. I'm playing softcore. It doesn't really matter that much. But overall, it's a really, really nice skill to play, and I'm really enjoying it. So I'll just quickly run through the tree and the skill and basically how the build works. It's fairly straightforward. So if we start with Bone Shatter, as I say, it's a skill I haven't played before, so if I get some stuff wrong, please forgive me. So I'm just running a 4 link at the moment because I don't have a 5 link. And it's Bone Shatter, Brutality, Melee Fizz, and then Fortify. I'm using Fortify just to help mitigate the damage of Bone Shatter. The way Bone Shatter works is every time you hit an enemy, or the first time you hit an enemy, you get a trauma stack, and then you take physical damage when you gain a trauma stack. So obviously, the quicker you're attacking, then the more things you're attacking, the more trauma you build up, and the more fizz damage you need to mitigate. But there's a few nodes on the tree that help us do that. This node here is really good. It's basically 25% chance to gain an endurance charge when you hit, and you're essentially always hitting yourself. So you're always going to keep up endurance charges. It also gives you a nice chunk of armor when you're stationary. Going across the fortification wheel and getting some max stacks. So I think we end up at 29 fortification, which again lessens the damage that we've got. And then we're using determination. We're stacking as much armor as you can. I've managed to finally find some flasks, which are a bit of a pain to find in Endless Delve, to give me a bit more mitigation. And then just a bit more max resistances, which doesn't help with Bone Shatter because it's fizz, but it helps with a lot of the stuff in the mine that you would normally rely on spell suppression to tank. I'm going to really struggle to get a decent amount of spell suppression on the build or block. So the way I'm going to try and deal with it at the moment is just getting my resistances as high as I can. There's some other cool nodes as well that really, really help. So you have this mastery that kills any enemies that you hit. And so if you hit an enemy and they die, their corpses are destroyed, which obviously helps for Delve. And then you can see the other one is attacks grant 1 rage on hit, no more than once every second, which again is really good for Delve because you might be able to do 4 or 5 nodes before you have to go into another instance. So you can get, I think I end up with 55 or 60 rage, which is really, really handy. And there's not much more to go through in terms of masteries. Obviously, we've just got some reservation efficiency and some damage. That's about it. And we go in precise technique because you get a lot of accuracy as a Juggernaut. Precise technique makes sense. I think I'd need to get like 5.5, 6k life to be able to go over my accuracy. So it works really, really well. In terms of ascendancy, I went undeniable first to get accuracy, attack speed, and just some more damage. Then I went unstoppable because it just feels really good in the mine. You get chilled literally constantly. So this really, really helps. It also stops you getting stunned. Then I went untiring to get some regen and some fizz damage prevented, regenerated as life, which again helps. And then lastly, I got unbreakable, which again is just a really, really nice way to get some more damage mitigation into the build. In terms of skills, I'm really not set up optimally at the moment because I don't have the mana to be able to use Pride, which would be a really nice damage boost. So at the moment on a character, I'm running Determination, Precision for accuracy, War Banner for fizz damage, and then Herald of Purity. This ideally would be Pride, but I'd need to drop my Precision down to a lower level and find some mana reservation somewhere for Pride to feel comfortable. I did try it, but I only had about 40 mana spare. Without being able to craft minus mana cost, it just doesn't really work. You run out of mana constantly. So I'm using Ancestral Cry, which does lots of different things. If there's no enemies nearby, it basically gives you 8 exerted strikes where you attack 2 additional enemies, which is really nice because we've already got +1 from Tribal Fury. If there are enemies near, it gives you plus range to your melee. It also gives you extra armor per the power of your war cry, so that's really, really nice as well. Just using Leap Flam to get around. I'm not using Berserk at the moment because I don't really have a way to generate rage other than like the 1 per second. I'm only using it if I get to the end of a node and I really know I need some help bursting down an enemy, then I'm going to use Rage, knowing that I'm probably going to go back to the mine once that enemy is down. And then that's it. For gear, there's a cast when damage taken Molten Shell and a Ancestral War Chief. And that's kind of it for the gems and the gear. For what it's worth, we'll go through the gear. It is all terrible. So the axe is, it would be okay. The stats on it are okay, but it's a quite a low level base, so it's not really very good at all. I think it's probably like, I don't know, 300, 350 PDPS. I'm working on crafting a new one with fossils. I just haven't had any luck. Best helmet I've found, which is life and resistances. The amulet is not too bad. It's life, accuracy, and some lightning resistance. The rings are garbage. They're really, really bad. This one doesn't even have life on it. It's just got some resistances. This one has a tiny bit of life and resistances. I'm at the point now I've leveled my character up that I've got tons of resistances from the tree. So I could basically run rings without any resistances on. And I think I'd be fine. As you can see, I'm 162 fire, 190 cold, 131 lightning. These go up with your endurance charges. So I really don't need resistances on these. So I am looking for replacements. The chest piece is just a big life chest piece with decent chaos res. It's actually really nice. And if I could 5 socket and 5 link this, I would. But currency is a bit sparse in Delve, which we'll come on to in a bit. The gloves again, life, armor, resistances. The belt, life, resistances, strength. And then the boots are 30% movement speed, good resistances, shit life. And then flask-wise, I'm just using what I've had drop because you don't get them, you don't get campaign flasks. So I've got a Quicksilver, Basalt flask, Granite flask, and then an Amethyst flask. So it gives me Chaos Res because it's a bit lethal in Delve of Chaos. Gives me armor, increased armor, and then obviously some movement speed and corrupted blood life flask. That's kind of it for the gear. I need to upgrade all round really, but the important upgrades are going to be a better weapon and then a 5 link, and that then should give me enough damage to get to sort of monster level 80, I would think, because I can complete 76, 77 fairly comfortably, but when there's the wrong mix of Arch Nemesis mods, it can take me a while to get the enemy down, and there is lots of dangerous damage over times and spells in Delve, which are the two things this character's kind of weak to. So I'll run through just a couple of nodes showcase at the end of the video, just so you can see how the build performs if it's something you wanted to try. But what I thought I'd do was talk about my experience with Defender's Delve, what I like about it and what I don't like about it. So we'll get the negatives out of the way first. No crafting bench. It's always been that way in Defender's Delve. It just doesn't feel very good. I understand they're doing it, I guess, because I can't pull the bench into the mine and you can't go to your hideout. So there is just no bench. But it feels pretty bad, especially with things like physical weapons. I found a couple of weapons with T2 flat fizz rolls and an open prefix. I could just craft 100% fizz and I've got myself a really, really good weapon. As it is, those weapons are basically junk, so you have to get rid of them. There's no minus mana cost craft, which feels pretty bad on any attack build. And it just feels bad when you find an item that's maybe got really, really high life but no resistances, or really good resistances and no life, and you just want to put a craft on to make the item a little bit better. Pantheons, you don't get access to Pantheons. That feels particularly bad in Delve because of all the defenses you realistically need if you're going to try and get deep into the mine. Pantheons just help a ton with shoring up either defenses or ailment immunity. Just lots of different ways that can help you that have been taken away. The noticeable thing for me is Burning Ground. Burning Ground is all over the place and it shreds through my character. And if I had access to Pantheons, I could obviously mitigate that. I'm assuming Eldritch Currency doesn't drop. I haven't seen any. So I'm just assuming that getting implicits is a no as well. You're also limited by a character because you don't have access to anything really outside the mine. So there's no bestiary. You can't anoint items. You can't get enchanted helmets unless you find, an enchanted helmet out of a chest. And it just generally feels, with all that content stripped out, it makes it more challenging, but it makes it a little bit frustrating. Especially without the bench crafts to do your links. So I've wasted so much currency trying to just 5-socket my item, and RNG's hating me. I spent like 170 jewelers just to try and put 5 sockets on an item, and they've failed. It could be the same with your fusions. You might try and fuse just a 5 link, and it might cost you 300 fusions, and that's not very easy to get in Delve. Currency chests are quite scarce. Overall, I haven't found myself getting a ton of currency, and I'm hitting up all of the currency nodes. But maybe once you get a bit deeper, that comes a bit more accessible. So I just feel that your success on getting down early is whether you can find a 5 or a 6 link, or whether you can luckily drop the right gear, because there's no way on just a 4 link and trash gear that you're getting deep into the Delve, because you're just going to get killed on a lot of awkward nodes. The things I really like about it are the fact that you don't have to do lab, because I absolutely hate lab. I think it's one of the worst things ever introduced to the game. I get why they did it, but it just feels really rubbish. Because some characters are spectral, like this character would breeze through lab, but you might be playing a mapper with no fizz mitigation, so you get wrecked by the traps. You don't have a lot of fizz mitigation, so Azaro can one-shot you. I just think it's something in the game that you should just, like it is in here, you get to level 75, you go to an Altar of Ascendancy and you ascend, and then maybe enchanted items drop from the trials that you find in maps. That, for me, would be really good. Because I just hate lab. I don't find it fun at all. If anything, it's kind of one of them things in the league that I just don't look forward to doing. So the fact you can just level up to 33, I think it is, you get your first. Then at 55, you can ascend to your second. Then at 68 and then 75, it just appears automatically an exclamation mark above your ascendancy altar. You can just go and ascend. It feels really, really good. I like how quickly you can level a character up. I think if you're really focused, you'd easily get a character to a map level in a couple of hours. I went quite slow. I went back to the mine after nearly every node to sell stuff and stash my loot. So I'm not particularly efficient at this style of gameplay. But I do think you can level up a lot quicker, which means you can test builds. So if you wanted to know how a build felt in kind of trash gear at level 68, you can level the character in a couple of hours, farm some gear in the mine, and have a play around and see how it goes. The other thing I like is the weapons that you get. There's some really good build opportunities that open up with these weapons. that aren't available in the main game. I think that's really cool. So what's my plans from here? And honestly, I don't know. I will carry on, but if I don't get a 5 link within the next day, I'm probably going to give up because I don't really enjoy just farming for currency, which is what I'm going to have to do. I want to try and get deeper in the mine. I don't want to have to just go sideways because I don't have a 5 or 6 link. So we'll see how it goes. I'll see how luck treats me in the next day, but I have a feeling if I get like hard locked because I can't get a 5 link or a 6 link, or I get unlucky with fossil crafting, it's probably something to knock on the head. But for now, we're going to carry it on, and hopefully there'll be another update video out tomorrow. So as I said, there's a leveling POB in the description for how I leveled. Really, you just need to get a decent Fizz 2-hander, and that is it. You get Helix. Helix is pretty OP in terms of the damage it does. You just level up quickly to 68, swap to Bone Shatter. The only thing I'll say if you do it is the Bone Shatter gems are totally different to your Helix gems. So whatever 6 link or 4 link or 5 link you want to use with Bone Shatter, pick up some of the white socket items that you get at the beginning, put them in your offhands and level the gems up. Because when you buy gems from Lily, they just start at level 1 regardless. So if you forget a gem, then you've got to level it from level 1. And if it was your main attack skill, it's not going to feel that great. So what we'll do is we will run through a quick showcase. I just want to make sure my volume is not too loud on the game.
I cannot do this yet.
So say this is 4-link gaming at level 82. I'll just show you the defenses because it's fairly good. It's fairly easy to get really good armor and really good mitigation, which is why I wanted to test the build out maybe for League Start, because it is super, super comfy. But without any other buffs up, which we'll have plenty of, it's 50k armor, and that'll go up the more endurance charges we get, the more buffs we get, that's going to go up even more. So it just feels really, really safe. Spells can chunk you, but that's hopefully something I can build up through getting more of a life pool, because obviously that's pretty pathetic. 3,800. So we'll go and do this level 76 weapon node. So the idea is you put on Blood Rage, start getting your frenzy charges. I've got Ancestral Cry on left click with Call to Arms, so it uses automatically. And then you just Bone Shatter your way through the map. You can drop your banner on nodes to get nice adrenaline buff, and then you get all of the buffs of your banner being placed, along with this node here, which gives you more damage when your banner is placed. We'll go and see what way we're going to go. This way. And obviously, the more the rage builds up, the quicker you attack. And on a 4-link, it feels nice. It's quick. It's way quicker than I thought it would be once you get it going because of rage. And obviously with my flower sub and stuff as well, I'm very, very tanky to fizz hits. I'm very unlikely to die to fizz hits unless I kill myself by getting a silly amount of trauma stats. But I'm not zooming, so it's difficult for me to build up enough trauma stats to kill me. I'm kind of, when I'm mapping, hovering around 7 or 8. When I'm on a node, it's much more. And it's just fairly easy and laid back. Like I say, I'm not saying you're not going to die on a character. It's possible. But compared to the usual kind of glass cannon builds that I play, it's pretty nice. The only thing I'd like to do is get some curses automated. This is how I keep dying, when random mobs sort of storm the node and they're always these beefy rare monsters. So we're going to do another node because that didn't have like a kind of encounter at the end. Just pick up that in case it's any good. So we'll go and do this one and see if there are enemies to kill in this one. Those bats are horrible. When there's the wrong mods in the zone, they can absolutely chunk you. I'm avoiding walls at the moment just because I want to level up a bit first, and I think one of my deaths might have been in the darkness, actually thinking about it. But I will go back down all the paths later on, dynamite the walls and farm some fossils to try and get some better gear crafted. Okay, so we've got a node here, so you can drop your banner if you want. You can curse the more difficult enemies. Because we're exploding corpses, we don't have to worry about, you know, any corpse explosions or anything like that. You can see we've got 55 rage, got 29 fortification stacks, frenzy charges, endurance charges. It just feels really, really nice. Nearly a nice axe, not quite. That's a nice ring though. We've got our first decent item. This is a very nice ring. Increased damage, increased attributes, increased Ellie res, and rarity. That is a decent ring to find. Let's just check that none of this is worth it. That's terrible. That's terrible as well, but I think it's the highest item level astral plate I've got. Yeah, so that's how the build performs. Feels really, really comfy. Enjoyed it. I found it really, really fun. So I'm going to continue for now and hopefully be able to make some progress a bit further down the line. That's it for this video. Thanks for watching. Take care and see you in the next one.